Oh, he did it again.
Shocking.
He can't keep getting away with it. Howie Roseman has the top grade here for the NFC East with the Philadelphia Eagles. It is an A+ once again here for Howie. You guys see all the players that they were able to draft there. Man, back-to-back cornerback picks, just attacking that need that they have there.
So the Eagles had a dominant and historic start to last year's NFL season, but they absolutely fell off down the stretch and a lot of the holes in their roster got exposed. But I still thought this team was not that far away from being a true contender. All they had to do was fix up the roster in the offseason, and that is exactly what they did. And I thought they had one of the best drafts out of anyone, and that is what I'm here to talk about in this video. But before I begin, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. I'm on the road to 30k subscribers now, and with your support, I believe we can get there super fast. Alright, so let's talk about the draft. The Eagles really needed to patch up their defense because that is where things went downhill at the end of last season. They allowed the second most passing yards with 4,296 and passing touchdowns with 39, both behind the Washington Commanders. Six-time Pro Bowler Darius Slay is now 33 years old, and James Bradbury will turn 31. And this year's draft was heavy with corners, so it was no surprise when Philly took Quinyon Mitchell off the board at pick 22. The 3-year starter was quite productive when playing the ball. He has the strength and physicality to defend the run and the speed and ball skills to cover downfield. He is a very good coverage defender who performs best in off coverage, though he has rigid back pedal at times. He has the patience to allow routes to develop and react with quick feet to transition. With the draft being so heavy in offense up front, the Eagles were able to get this guy at great value, and I think he is going to be able to come in and leave an instant impact. If I was an Eagles fan, I would be stoked about this pick, and I think Mitchell is a guy that will capitalize on all the opportunities that he gets. Next up in round 2, the Eagles were able to take another corner in Cooper Dejean, and this was a great value pick, and a guy that can come in and help this defense right away. He's coming out of Iowa, a school that basically was completely carried by its defense the last few seasons. He is an elite athlete with excellent size for the cornerback position. He possesses the desired top-end speed and movement skills for the NFL. He started his career at Iowa as a safety in 2021 before transitioning to a cornerback. Along with his positional flexibility, he also provides real value as a return man. Also, he excels in zone coverage, but he's versatile enough to play man as well. He shows a smooth back pedal and the ability to keep his leverage and quick footwork with few wasted steps. Next in round 3, with the 94th pick, the Eagles took Jalen Carter off the board. He is strong at contact and can push back offensive linemen or even completely erase tight ends. He is very explosive out of his stance to go with a decent bend. He lacks a well-rounded pass rush profile, likely because he didn't really need one to dominate his competition level. Anyways, in round 4, the Eagles then took a running back off the board in Will Shipley. He was a top 10 back in Clemson history and racked up 31 100-yard games. Really, the knock on this guy is that he doesn't burst out for big gains and will get caught if he breaks out. But that's okay because Philly doesn't need him for that, with them having Saquon Barkley. The rest of the draft, the Eagles just spent racking up on other positions of need, so let me know in the comments below if there were any steals that you felt they took off the board late in the draft, and who your favorite pick was overall. Also, more news is that the Eagles signed corner Sean Stephens after what they saw from him in minicamps. He led the nation with 16 interceptions over the last 2 seasons, 8 in 2023 at Ferris State, and 8 in 2022 for West Liberty. He was also named the Great Lakes Intercollegiate Athletic Conference Defensive Back of the Year last season. Alright, now I want to talk about what the Eagles need to do this season to not only be successful in the regular season, but to see playoff success, because that is what the fan base is itching for. So like I said, the downfall of this team came defensively, and through the draft and free agency, I feel like Howie Roseman fixed the problem. This team is deep now, and they shouldn't have a fall off regarding some major injuries or declining play of Jalen Hurts, who I will talk about in just a second. Some of the free agents the Eagles brought in over the past month or so include Avonte Maddox, Devin White, CJ Gardner-Johnson, Bryce Huff, Brandon Graham, Devontae Parker, Saquon Barkley, and many others. Roseman is just a magician. Alright, so to talk about Jalen Hurts, it's really hard for me to say anything with having 50% of people agree and the other 50 heavily disagreeing. I think Hurts is one of the most talented QBs in the league, but there are times where he just doesn't look like himself. But he's coming into 2024 with maybe the most talented receiving core in all of football, and an elite running back to hand it off to. So there is absolutely no reason that he shouldn't have a Pro Bowl level year. But more importantly, like I've been stressing this whole video, the regular season success does not matter. He needs to show up and be clutch in the playoffs. Cause it's not like he had a bad season last year. He put up nearly 4,000 yards with 23 touchdowns, but the problem was that he threw 15 interceptions, which is not acceptable. And then obviously, he was a part of the end of the year implosion. But at the end of the day, this guy has so much talent, can make plays with both his arm and his legs, and I fully expect to see a bounce back year under the creativity of offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. I know I've said it way too many times, but I think this defense with what they've drafted so far is going to be extremely good. And when you pair that with an offense like the Eagles have already built, this team is going to be able to contend just like they did in the 2022 season and most of last year. This offense is loaded with talent all over it, and they just added Saquon Barkley. They have a true number 1 receiver in AJ Brown. They have Devontae Smith, who's probably the best number 2 receiver in the entire NFL. They have an elite receiving threat at tight end in Dallas Goedert, and then they also went out and added Paris Campbell and Devontae Parker to give Hurts even more weapons to work with, which just makes me even more confident. And then the NFL, just a few hours ago from this recording, released the strength of schedules for every single NFL team based on last year's winning percentage, and the Eagles are towards the bottom of the list, but they do still obviously play some tough games, and I think they need to, because they need to find different ways to win against those teams that they will see in the postseason. They need to learn to win ugly. That is a big part of teams that make it to and win the Super Bowl, and they know this, because they just won one not too many years ago with Nick Foles. So overall, I think the Eagles had a pretty monster draft a few weeks ago, and I'm not just saying that because I know everyone does for every team's draft, but I really felt like Howie Roseman filled all the gaps on this roster, and this team is now complete and is ready to contend. That's really all I have to say for this video. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point, and if you enjoyed and haven't yet, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, because your support truly does mean the world. And also, follow me on Instagram, because I'm posting cool sports content every single day. And until next time, I will see you all later.